Hey, good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are when you're watching this. I hope you are doing well. Welcome to the Budget Fairy. If it's your first time here, I feel like I'm out of practice. If you're not new here, then you know that I have been AWOL for some time. I have not been on, and so I just wanted to jump on before I get into any other videos that I have planned sort of in the next few months. I just wanted to do a catch up and a touch base because I think my last video was in January, which is 6 months ago now. And so, which, yes, I know, I know, but it's for a couple of reasons. Essentially, I burnt myself out. So from about, let me see, from, I don't know, when was that? I want to say from about December of 2019, or maybe even before that, I really started to push myself. To come online. I had this great idea, which I think it's still fantastic. I mean, this is why the Budget Fairy is still a thing. I still wholeheartedly believe that, it's not about how much money you make, it's how much money you keep that's going to determine your financial trajectory. And so I was buzzing and excited, and I just want to share it. I just wanted to reach as many people as possible. So I was showing up online almost every single day, day in, day out, posting, sharing, oversharing. Essentially, I burnt myself out. At the same time as well, I have a separate channel that I was talking about something completely different, but that was quite a heavy one as well. And I was doing that also week in, week out. And then, so this was all on YouTube. Then I expanded myself into LinkedIn, started trying to post on there as well. I set up Instagram. I was going to post as well. And it was just doing a lot all at once. All of this while having a full-time job, having a little one that I look after all by myself, single mom. And also somewhere in between that, taking on a second job as well. So I basically, trying to hold two jobs, build a business, build a brand and all of that. And I just burned myself out. And even worse, I think about the fact that, as I've been doing a bit of self-reflection over the last 12 months with everything that's been happening, there's the clock sounding. I don't know if you can hear that. It's very, very nice. Oh, that's the thing. I moved house as well. I moved house in November of last year. So all just sort of tidying. As you may know, moving is a very stressful time, can be a very stressful time, especially when you don't have a car and you don't drive. It's a lot to get through. And so, yeah, I was trying to do all of those things. What I was getting to, as I've been doing self-reflection, realizes that I am actually an introverted person. As I've been taking time to, try and figure me out more. And of course it makes sense that I'm going to burn myself out trying to be there, out there every single day. And it was almost to a point where I would get a knot in my stomach thinking about having to be so public again. The thing that I was actually talking about, love talking about it. And actually for some time, I started to nurture some ladies in a private group, not so much in like a public Facebook page. And that was more enjoyable. That felt more comfortable working with people in a much smaller group as opposed to being online, public, going live a few times a week, every single week. And so I had to just get off it. I think it was in maybe around November of last year that I just plugged out of Facebook for this sort of purposes because I just couldn't keep it up. I just couldn't keep it up anymore. Something had to give, and I just needed some time to figure out, this thing that I'm passionate about, this financial education that I'm passionate about, that hasn't changed. That has not changed one bit. You can still see me spending hours and hours poring over numbers and I think it's excessive, but I love it. I love it. That hasn't changed. Looking through numbers, trying to make it work, seeing, how we can play around with the numbers to make it right. That hasn't changed, but I have to think about what is the best way to help people the way that I want to. And I haven't figured it out yet. I'm still working on it, but that's where I've been. I've had to just step back, step out of the limelight because I was just burning myself out and figure out what's the best way to give the help that I want to give without, going against my nature, without going against, so I guess there is something to be said about pushing yourself out of your comfort zone. And there's absolutely a place for that. But it's just finding that balance. It's about doing it in a way that isn't overwhelming, that, can keep you focused on the goal as well, and also tracking the results that were coming off that. I had to figure out a way to specifically help the people that I wanted to help without burning myself out in public. I feel like I've spent so much time going over the same thing. So that's where I've been. Here we are. It's middle of 2021. And so I was doing sort of a mid-year review. As you know, if you've listened to any of my content from before, it's important to review finances monthly, quarterly, mid-yearly, and of course at the end of the year to see where you're at. And so as I was looking through my numbers at the start of the month, I realized that I sort of hit quite a milestone. And just off of that, I had a number of topics that I wanted to talk about. So here's some video ideas that I have that I wanted to, over the next few months, sort of talk over them. So how I paid off over £12,000 worth of debt in the last year, in the last 12 months. So 1st of June 2020 to 1st of June this year, £12,000 worth of debt cleared. How I did that. Other thing I want to talk about, how I got myself a £10,000 promotion in a company that I've been in for about 18 months. Other thing I want to talk about, how I increased my income by over over 2.5 times in the last 5 years. Oh my goodness, I can't speak. I increased my income by over 2.5 times in the last 5 years. And also, two more, how I increased my net worth by, I think we're currently increased my net worth by around £14,000 also in the last year, while I've been paying off £12,000 worth of debt. And then finally, how I'm planning for my next £10,000 pay raise in the next 18 months, 12 to 18 months. So those are some things that I wanted to share. Now, you notice there are a lot of similarities. And so, I talk a lot about budgeting and telling your money where to go, where to put it. I also think at some point as well, especially if we're in the earlier stages of our careers, it's also good to make more, to make enough so that you have enough to set aside and put aside, which is something that I've been thinking about a lot. You may or may not have heard of the FIRE movement, which stands for, so FIRE, Financial Independence, Retire Early. So at the start of this year, I started to toy with the idea in my head. I started to toy with the idea of not waiting until 65, but actually retiring before that. And so just the thought was dancing around in my head, sort of playing with the numbers, researching as much as I could about it. And then, over the course of, by the time we got to sort of April, May, I was sort of saying it out loud to really close friends, that this is something that I'm thinking about. This is something that I want to work towards, and, it's something that I want to make it go. So let's say that was maybe about March, April. And then by May, so last month, I started to put some numbers down, to actually put pen to paper on what that might look like. So it wasn't just ideas in my head, but actually what sort of numbers was I going to need? And there are lots of calculators online. Let me know if that's something you'd be interested in for me to talk about. So actually, let me make a note of that. How I worked out my FIRE number. So let me know if that's something that you'd be interested in as well. I can speak on that. And so just sort of putting the numbers down and saying, okay, these are the dates. And a lot of the numbers that we talk about from a budgeting point of view, when I talk about things like your fighting number, when I think about concepts we've spoken, is how much you need on a monthly basis. So those are all things that are going to be crucial for you to know if early retirement is something that you're interested in, because I'm currently 31. I'm going to be 32 in December, so just bang on halfway there. Retirement age, I think by the time we get there, it's gonna be even longer and longer and longer. I think we'll be looking at the 70s, because the current system just cannot sustain the fact that so many people are living longer and there's that much pension to pay. So I really think part of getting a solid spending plan, budget, whatever you want to call it now, part of that is preparing for that time where if you don't want to work until you're in your 70s, you can give yourself the option to create something for yourself that's going to do that. So let me know if that's something that you're interested in. I know a lot of last year I was really going on about I'm trying to get this debt cleared, and it's the best feeling. This was debt that I took on as part of coaching that I was getting, business coaching. So it wasn't, consumer goods or holidays or things like that. Debt is debt. Debt is debt. However, there's levels to this thing. So, for me, the focus for the last few months was getting that cleared, wanting to get to a point where I'm debt free, and it feels amazing. It feels incredible. And now I can turn my attention to, more plugging into investing, plugging more into, the next step, looking ahead to what life is going to be like. So like I said, I can walk you through those numbers. Currently, I'm aiming for 45 in terms of getting to a point where working then becomes something that I only do because I want to, not because I have to, not because I need to. So I can see the numbers on paper. I know what I need to get that. And then I can have that plan on a monthly, yearly basis on how I'm going to get there. So like I said, let me know if that's something you're interested in. But that's where I've been. A lot of introspection, a lot of thinking. And I just wanted to jump on here. This was just supposed to be, this is where I've been, but I've gone ahead and giving you an update of everything. So I am okay. I am well. My child is well. We're both doing well. It's just been a case of having to step back after taking on too much and burning myself out. But every single day, the passion for financial education doesn't flicker just for a little bit. It just doesn't. Every single day I'm thinking about it. I'm in there. I'm passionate about it, and I want to help as many people as possible. I was able to help a friend recently, and I mean, it's things like that. It's that moment when you see someone's eyes light up, when they go from thinking everything's hopeless to saying, no, actually, it can work. Maybe I can do this. When you actually put the numbers in with a plan, that change in your face when they go, no, these numbers might actually work. I might be able to do all the things that I need to do in what I already have. That for me is the reward. That for me is the joy. And I don't think anything's going to take away from that. Absolutely. So that is still there. I'm still here. You know how to reach me. If that is something that you think you'd benefit from, working with me for the 12 weeks and just take a journey together in getting your own financial independence journey started from someone who has been there. So I don't want to keep rambling. I'm going to leave it there. Let me know any of the topics that I mentioned, which of those resonated with you the most, what you'd like me to touch on first, and I'll go ahead and do that. If you're stopping by, say hi, put a comment there, give the video a like, a thumbs up, I think that's what they call it. Subscribe if you haven't, so that more people can see it as I start to bring that content out there. And I know a lot of the times, a lot of these financial channels here on YouTube tend to be US focused, not very many sort of UK based. And so, let's support out there and and help the algorithms show that there are people here too talking about this stuff. Okay, so that's it from me. I hope to speak to you soon on the next video. So I'm going to aim to get the first one out while we're on before the end of the month. So we are currently, I think, on the 3rd, so in the next couple of weeks, to get the first one of those topics that I talked about out, and then we can go from there. But that's it. I'll speak to you soon.